In my previous video about Derek Lunsford and Nick Walker and the Pittsburgh Pro, there were a few things that I glossed over, a couple of things that I left out. Let's call this part two. And before I finish, I'll touch on whether this decision could have been political at all. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Okay, I guess people will be talking about this decision at the Pittsburgh Pro for a while now. A lot of the fans, I would say a majority of the fans that made comments felt that Nick Walker should have gotten the decision. A lot of people in the industry, and I'm talking about bodybuilders, both retired and currently competing, that felt the same way, that Nick should have won the decision. A lot of these people were at the show. At the end of the day, the judges make the final call. The truth of the matter is, on the scorecards, it was a very close decision. Now, as far as Derek Lunsford goes, and I mentioned it before, the package that he brought here, it wasn't better than what he brought at the Arnold, and wasn't even as good as he brought to the Arnold. I would say it was more on par with what he brought to the Olympia. If you look at it from that perspective, you would have to say that he actually regressed a little. Now, in the past, one of the criticisms about Derek when he stepped on stage, that he seemed to lose a lot in his legs. We'd see in pics leading up to the show, his legs would look nice and full, but something happened by the time he stepped on stage. At the Arnold, we didn't see that. Over here at the Pittsburgh Pro, we saw that again. And as far as the legs go, there's one other thing I want to mention. Brandon Curry, throughout his career, has been criticized about his legs. His legs don't match his upper body. His upper body overpowers his legs. The truth is, we have the same situation with Derek Lunsford through most of his career, and it's never really talked about or made a big fuss over the way it's been with Brandon. I just thought that was something worth mentioning. Now, also, Derek, when everything settles and he has time to reflect and look back on this, and he sees what all these fans are saying, what people in the industry are saying, and bodybuilders, both retired and current, how a lot of them feel that Nick should have won. How is that going to affect him mentally? And I've always talked about the mental aspect of bodybuilding, and with Derek, he does a good job of smiling in front of the camera and staying nice and cool, calm, and collected. But I think in reality, he really does wear his heart on his sleeve. And I really do think that this is going to affect him mentally. It might psych him out a bit. I definitely think that's a real possibility moving forward in his prep for the Olympia, which is not a good thing. And also, I'm wondering, in the past, he's done one show a year. Some bodybuilders seem to thrive by doing multiple shows, one after the other, numerous shows through a year, and it doesn't seem to be an issue, but in others, it seems to be a problem. Not sure what's going to happen with Derek come the Olympia. Uh, People who thought he was the biggest threat to Samson moving forward from the Arnold going into the Olympia are probably thinking a bit different now. Now, as far as Nick Walker goes, we know he's doing the New York Pro. I don't like to say anything is set in stone, but it's kind of set in stone. Nick is winning the show, and unless something totally, excuse me, totally unforeseeable happens, there's nobody in this show that's gonna present any problem to Nick Walker. So he's gonna get his ticket to the Olympia. How did this uh, decision affect him? Well, before I get to that, let me say this also about the package that he brought to the Pittsburgh Pro. I think it would be safe to say it was his all-time best package. So for those people who wrote him off, you made a big mistake. Now, how is this going to affect him mentally? I think Nick is a lot stronger than Derek is mentally when it comes to these things. I don't think this is going to affect him by any means in a negative way. His mindset is, "Fuck you! I'm gonna show you you made a mistake, and I'm gonna prove you wrong, and I'm gonna come back even better." Uh, Nick, he's he hears what the fans are saying. He hears what other people in the industry are saying, and I bet you there are people in the industry that have already reached out to him, and he hears what they're saying. So that also gives him a lot more incentive because people whose opinions that he respects that probably carry a little more weight when judging a bodybuilding show than the average person out there when they are saying they felt that he should have won also. That's just more fire for him. He's winning New York Pro. He's getting his qualification for the Olympia. He's going to be a little better package at the New York Pro. What I think he's going to do, he's just going to come in a little tighter. There's not a lot of improvements he can make, but he can come in a little tighter. And I think you heard a lot of talk about his gut in the finals during transitions that he was losing control a bit of it. And I think he's going to correct that. He's going to be very aware of it. And that won't be an issue here. So he'll be a little drier, a little tighter, and he'll be more aware of what's going on with his physique in between poses during his transitions. And we will see a little better Nick in New York. And then moving to the Olympia, can we see a better Nick than what we're seeing now? I think it's very possible and highly likely. And at this point now, you have to consider Nick Walker a very, very serious threat to win the title. Okay, could this been a political by any means? Some people are saying that, well, the powers to be are pissed off at Nick because of the way he pulled out of last year's Olympia. The prior Olympia to that, it was an injury. There was no question. Uh, this past Olympia, I don't think we ever got the actual story of what happened. So the thought process is the powers that be were angry and they're spanking him here for pulling out of last year's Olympia. Some people are thinking that, well, Derek, whether he won or lost this show, was not going to go to New York, which is a week later. Nick, if he would have won the Pittsburgh Pro, it's highly unlikely that he would have went to New York, even though it's hometown. I think he would have passed it up at that point and just focused on the Olympia. But he would have showed up there. He would have made an appearance there, but he wouldn't have done it. So if Nick wins, neither one of them are going to be in the New York Pro. But if Nick doesn't win, the logical choice would be to go to New York, which is only a week away, his hometown, and get his qualification. Now you bring Nick Walker, you add him to the lineup, you still have time to sell more seats, put more butts in that arena. You have a chance to sell more pay-per-view. I'm not saying that politics had anything to do with it. I'm just putting it out there that people are speculating in that manner. You can agree or disagree with anything I've said in this video. Either way, please let me know in the comment section. This is Michael Diamond. I'd like to thank you for watching Muscle Central.